comics.
What are you?
I'm Batman. TV and movies. Wrestling. Music.
We are just getting started!
Finally, a podcast about things you actually care about, hosted by a couple of guys who actually care about those things too.
What? Did we just become best friends? Yep.
Maybe a little too much.
Yes, that's awesome.
The talented one, Chris Machete.
That no-talent ass clown became famous.
And Brenton, you know, that guy from your other favorite podcast.
I liked it. I was good at it.
So grab onto the handrail and don't let go.
I'm gonna get a medic! There's a little boy caught in the escalator!
This is the Kids on the Escalator podcast.
Woo!
Here's CM and BD.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
Hey, hello everybody. Monday night here in Kingston, Ontario. This is the Kids on the Escalator podcast. My co-host Brent is out on the road with the band. I was going to say Savage Dragon, but it's not Savage Dragon. It's Imagine Dragons. Yeah, so I'm flying solo tonight. I may have Jimmy drop in. We'll see how he's doing. We have the producer right beside me here to keep an eye on my shenanigans and stuff. There she is. And I got the vibe going tonight. We're going to do some... First of all, what we're going to talk about is Star Wars and why us hardcore fans are so douchey about it. Yeah, I'm one of them. If you've seen the show before, you know I get pretty uppity about my Star Wars, but I mean well. You know what I mean? And then the second half of the show, we're going to dive into probably the biggest thing pop culture-wise on the internet today was the Doctor Strange trailer for the new movie from Marvel Comics. Now, I didn't watch the Super Bowl, but man, I sure did like that Doctor Strange trailer that was accompanied with the Super Bowl. And I liked, I had some pizza later on. I went over to my folks' house with some pizza and wings like we do on Sundays. So, hello, folks. If you're watching, Mom and Dad, dun, dun, dun. Your kid's flying solo tonight. Look at me go. Anyway, so that's what we did. And the trailer was really, really cool. Oh, Star Wars just hit me in the face. Did you see that? Boom. I just got Benny Hill with a Star Wars logo. If you're listening, you didn't see that. If you're watching, you did. Okay, so first off, we're on the Dean Blundell Network, and I wanted to mention that I believe the networks we are number one network. We were last week. I don't know if we are this week, but it's not because of me entirely, but the basis of the show is they're very politically charged, and there's a lot of sports stuff, and they're number one at that. You know, that's not my forte in life, and I've chosen that path to not be like hugely political with people, but being an independent businessman all my life and having my business be like me, you really don't want to offend anybody, and you know how easy it is to offend people these days, my friends, right? So politically, I don't like to go public with my politics, like back in the day, like we really didn't talk about, but that's just me. So sorry, my point here is that the show is number one. They nail that stuff. They do a good job of it. In sports, they do too. But a little known fact is they have probably one of the most knowledgeable pop culture Marvel Star Wars experts as a member of their team. And that would be me. So what we're going to talk about today, first of all, is why are hardcore Star Wars fans so darn douchey, touchy, erratic about it? What is the deal with us? Why do we freak out over this stuff? Why do we watch the trailers over and over again and try and find these little things? Why do we collect the toys? Why do we watch the same movie over and over again? Why do we get so pissed off when they screw with the history of Star Wars? Why do we do that? That's a lot of questions, right, my friends? Okay. To answer this in total with myself, I'm going to have to go in the Wayback Machine. And luckily we have one. Woo-hoo, 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 woo-hoo. Here we go. Are you ready? I'm asking my producer if she's ready. Are you ready? I think so. Here we go. There we go. Okay, Wayback Machine to 1977. Little Chris is bopping around. And at this point, I would have been young. I can give my age away perfectly, but if I tell you what I was there, but that's fine. I was either 6 or 7 years old. So my cousins who lived in the big city of Toronto, I was living in a little town of Ingersoll at this time. My cousins in the big city of Toronto, they came in to visit us, and my cousin had a shirt on, and it was one of those iron-on shirts, and it said it had Star Wars, and it had Han Solo and Chewie on it. And this is the classic. God, you know what, Lonnie? I apologize. I should have asked you to find that graphic because it's up there. Don't worry about it. No. And then I could have showed you my first visualization, my first visual of Star Wars. Now, if you're listening, you're like, who cares, Chris? Get on with the story. We cannot see it anyway. So it was Chewie and Han, classic shot of them. Chewie with his bowcaster, Han with his blaster out. And I asked my cousin, I was like, wow, at this time at this point in time, I'd only been into Spider-Man and Marvel comics heavily, but loved it. But so I'm like, what is it on your shirt? And my cousin says to me, really, just boom, this is the greatest thing ever. And his sister, my other cousin, said, yeah, it is. It really is. So that was my introduction to Star Wars, is having my cool cousin from the city who always was, up on things. He comic book stores. He knew about that before I did. The whole putting the comics in the bag and backer boards. He knew about that before I did. He had the big BMX store. So he was kind of my line to pop culture and what was new, and that was great. So I was always a little bit ahead of the kids in my neighborhood with pop culture, which was great for me. I love that kind of stuff, right? So that was my first exposure, was just seeing it on a t-shirt. Well, of course, then, the whole way home from Toronto, I'm like, oh, we got to see Star Wars. We got to see Star Wars. We got to see Star Wars. So I did go and see Star Wars in the theater as just a little nargan. My mom and my dad took me. Thanks, guys. They remember it. We went 3 times to see A New Hope. It was great. And I loved it. Loved every second of it. Now, I'll get to why we're so douchey about it, but at the same time, a lot of sports people will bring up sports folks will bring up history of, oh man, and I got hockey memories like that. Oh man, I remember my dad when I was 7 taking me to see a football game, or I got this football from the special NFL player. They're that way, and we, us nerd culture people, have the same. We're as adamant about our Star Wars as you sports guys are about your teams and your sports heroes. And I know ours are fictitious, but to us, it's enjoyable, it's entertainment, and they're larger than life to us. Okay, so the second thing that the movie was amazing. To go into detail of a 7-year-old. Shock and awe of watching Star Wars unfold is that just at first, the ship flying in, the Star Destroyer. Like, okay, there's a little ship. You see the little one, and then you see the Star Destroyer come in, and it just keeps going and going and going, and it's so huge. And I at the beginning, I remember I couldn't really pinpoint who the villains were off the beginning, because this was new. And usually when you see a show, like a Dirty Harry movie back in the day, you knew Dirty Harry was the hero, and you could easily find out who the villain was. So you started off the movie with Darth Vader. It was like, wow, he's probably the villain, right? So you go through all the process of that, and then they hit Tatooine, and then the Sand People come up, and you're like, oh no, the Jawas come up, and you're like, whoa, these little guys, maybe they're the villains. And then the Sand People come up, and I can remember thinking, wow, who's the villain here? And they kind of led you on this just little. I love the way George took me on this tour of his universe by going to basically one planet and a starship off the hop, and then everything kind of came together, and you saw the rebels and the Imperials and how they fought each other. So I'm just letting you into my mind as a 7-year-old seeing Star Wars unfold for me for the first time. And I mentioned before that Darth Vader never really scared me, when I was younger. And I always thought that if I ever met Darth Vader, we'd probably listen to the same music. You know what I mean? Because I used to like metal and Kiss and stuff. That's again, the 7-8-year-old mentality back then. So the reason that Darth Vader not really scaring me kind of brought me to the conclusion that maybe he's not the villain. No, you can pop that up there if you want. That's fine. That's fine. So that's mine. So I'm going through, and then the Empire and the Rebels start to face off each other, and then you really get the layers of Luke Skywalker brought in so quickly, but so properly. The mysteries of who his dad is, his uncle and aunt not wanting him to leave the planet. A lot of people had Han Solo as their hero, and I get that too, man. He's so cool. But I was a Luke Skywalker fan. He was my hero. There was Spider-Man, and Star Wars and Kiss, kind of Luke Skywalker, and he's really kind of cross. So I had my music hero, I had my sci-fi hero, and I had my comic book hero, and it was Kiss, basically Ace Frehley or Peter Criss. We had Luke Skywalker, and we had Spider-Man. So these were my heroes growing up. Wayne Gretzky as well, and Mike Palmateer is hockey, but for some reason, there was no mystery to hockey for me. You know what I mean? I used to love drawing hockey pictures and stuff like that, and I used to like going to the games, but there was no mystery to it. I guess I found the sci-fi and the Marvel comics a little more creative, and my mind was always racing, kind of like what I do on these shows. Okay, so that was my review of Star Wars from the 7-year-old mind. Okay, and it came away from it just with Luke Skywalker. Now I got to take a drink of water here. Thank you. Okay. So the next thing that hooked me on Star Wars was the toys. Now, if we could show a picture of the toys, and I love this. This is from, oh my gosh. My parents will recognize this too. All that's missing is the things that were circled that I wanted during Christmas when I was a kid. Now, this is great. Now, I think this is 1978, I believe, Lonnie, because I'm seeing some Boba Fett action in there. Wow, is that a Shogun Warrior down in the right hand? Oh my gosh. Wow, that is a Shogun Warrior. See, right now, this just bring me back to my youth, and I had a fun childhood. And I'm sorry if you didn't have a good childhood. That sucks, man. But I had a pretty rad childhood, and these toys were a big part of it. As I mentioned, I didn't have a brother and sister, but I had some cool Star Wars toys. So again, I'm just hypnotized by looking at all this stuff. The funny thing is I got a bin that I dug out of the basement there for some TikTok videos, and I'm looking at a lot of these toys here in my bin. Now they're not mint, but I have a lot of these, which is great. So the toys hooked me as well. And we all know how smart George Lucas was to put that, the information, the images, all that stuff into the toys, and to do it so rad, right? Okay. So the toys hooked me. Excuse me. The movie hooked me. And then, we went through the first 3 movies, the first trilogy, and then there was a huge break. Wow. How long was that? Was it a decade in between those movies? Or 13 years or something, or
it was quite a while.
It was quite
I think it was
at least a decade around there. So we didn't get anything for a while. So when it did come back out again, I can remember my co-host and I believe Lonnie, my wife, the 3 of us, we went, and I think maybe Dent. I don't know why he would have went, but I think maybe Dent went. So the 4 of us went to see the movie, and I think we went to the casino after, maybe. Yeah. Oh, my memory, right? Because it's linked with Star Wars. So we all went out and saw, and that would have been the Phantom Menace. Okay, and I can't remember that year. It was.
I think it was 2001.
Was it 2001? Anyway, whenever that came out, the 4 of us went and saw it, and I remember the excitement again. Woo! So, I really enjoyed those 3 movies there. I thought they were really well done. Now, those took a big hit too, and I defended them. I was a big defender for that because there's a lot of information you had to get out in the first movie. Again, I could go into defending this trilogy, but that's not my point today. My point is how passionate I was when this came back out. Now, sorry, I need to take another drink. So we are going to. Okay, now we're going to flash forward to. So we've got. So this would be episode 1 basically, but 4, so we're back at the Phantom Menace, and then Attack of the Clones comes out, and we have our resurgence of Boba Fett. We get to see his dad Jango Fett, which I thought was amazing. And then of course Boba Fett, or Obi-Wan, incredible. Obi-Wan was amazing in that. And then we hit Revenge of the Sith, which in my opinion is not on a sentimental Star Wars movie, but in my opinion, it is the best Star Wars movie out of all of them. Is that a bold statement? Yes, it is. But that's what I do on this show, is I make bold statements about this stuff. Okay? In my opinion, the best Star Wars movie is 3, Revenge of the Sith. Now, if you were to say to me, pardon?
I could just woo because that is.
It is a heavy statement, I know, but that's what I'm here to do. Now, mind you, A New Hope is probably my favorite movie of all time. But as just looking at as an adult, the writing of it, the special effects of it, I thought were fantastically done. All the characters, I just thought it was great. The ending, I have such a hard time watching, to see Anakin turn to the dark side, because we were all waiting for it. All Star Wars fans were waiting for it. And man, I don't see the hacking on Hayden Christensen. That pisses me off there, because and people will rip on the lines that he's saying. He didn't write the script. See, here we go. Now, he didn't write the script, you morons. And his acting was fine. I thought he was just acting like a teenager would. He didn't write the dialogue. You cannot blame him for the words he is saying. Smarten up, okay? And that's just an intelligence factor. That's not me being a Star Wars asshole, I don't think. That's just me being, like, knowledgeable, all right? So that's another thing you're going to find, or I find, is that when people attack Star Wars and things like Spider-Man and stuff, which is Star Wars focusing, sorry, the hacks are not, they're really not that great. And then if I come back with a response, I don't get anything. Just because, or whatever, you're a nerd. You know, you don't get anything intellectual. So one of my problems with being a Star Wars nerd, a heavy Star Wars nerd, is that if somebody tries to belittle me or bully me or hack on me, they never have anything intelligent to say in reply. Now, I think this relates to a lot of things in life. And I think Dean Blundell can relate to a lot of these things that I'm talking about with just people in general. But I get that a lot with Star Wars things. You know, I get if people are really, like, I'm not talking casual conversations. I'm talking people like bullying me because I like Star Wars. Okay, that's another reason that I've become a little douchey about it, because over the years I've become a little jaded about it and a little, you know, wow, that's a stupid question. And when a stupid question comes from somebody, you kind of think that, hey, man, you might want to go home and read something. You know, you want them to help their intellectual level. So that pisses me off a bit. All right. Now, another thing, not to do with any kind of just general public people. I get people not liking Star Wars. I'm not saying that. But if you're going to come at me about it, you better be prepared to have something intelligent to say to me. All right? Just because I read comic books doesn't mean I can't start some shit. Right, Lonnie? Isn't that what he says? Mallrats. Okay, great. So now going into adult things, you know, not worrying about what other people think about Star Wars, saying it that way. Okay, let's get into the creative control of Star Wars, all right? And one thing that I've picked out in particular that really, really irked me, and you'll hear me start to get a little upset here, is the new, I'm not even going to say who wrote it, so it's the second of the newest Star Wars films. What was it called, Lonnie? Do you remember the second one of the new ones? Was it The Last Jedi? I don't know. I didn't like it. Second newest one took my hero, my Wayne Gretzky, I don't know, who's a famous football guy? Joe Namath? Maybe my dad will know that one, Joe Namath. So they took my guy, man, Luke Skywalker, and in the newest movies, they pissed all over Luke Skywalker. The first scene, he gets his lightsaber handed to him, and the writer decided that Luke Skywalker was going to throw that thing over his shoulder. Man, my Luke Skywalker that I grew up watching would not do that. What the F, man? And if that did happen, why would that be the basis of your movie? Okay? So boom. The stupidity of that, and to diss my hero and so many other. I'm not the only one who's mentioned this. Obviously, you know, there's tons of people who agree with me on this, and there are some other people who like the movie. But the thing is about, and I'm sorry, Mike, who's been co-hosting in the past, and I've attacked him on this. But I've mentioned, like, well, what's good about the movie, and nobody really. Well, yeah. It's hard to come up with something that's good about the movie when you're put on the spot. But if you want to pick something that's bad about the movie, it's pretty easy. Now, my producer wants to say something.
I say creatively with the actors and the scenery and all the special effects, it was good. Storyline, not so good.
No, and the character creation was horrible. And the fact that they poor John Bodega, well, I wasn't going to mention this, but this pissed me off too, that his character was put in there basically as a token black guy. And that's ridiculous. They didn't put any effort into it. Again, there's YouTube videos on this gentleman saying this himself. It's not a hidden fact. I'm not like, oh my gosh, you're calling Disney racist. It's discussed by him, by many celebrities. And I feel bad for him, man. Like, he's coming into the Star Wars situation, thinking, man, I get to be a Star Wars character. And then they find out they put no effort into building his character. Again, I'm getting mad. So I would love to see Filoni give. There's a character I'd love to see Filoni give some justice to, man, because that guy deserves justice. Well, even Poe, there was no depth. Ooh, he's a hotshot fighter with a short temper. Whoa, how did you come up with that? See, this is bullshit. This is terrible storytelling. These people are paid so much money to write these amazing movies and stories that George Lucas came up with. Okay, interject. Go ahead.
One thing to say about Last Jedi is that they did film two scenes where Luke is, one, he is grieving over Han because he finds out he's passed.
Yeah.
That he's passed. And then the other scene was him milking the blue milk out of the cow. And they chose to go with the blue milking cows, and I don't understand that.
Okay, that's that Dave and Don situation that Brett and I were joking about. We're at the boardroom. Hey, Dave, how's it going? Well, it would be really funny if Luke drank milk. And Don's like, oh, I think that's a great idea, Dave. That's great. So let's get rid of the Han Solo scene. We've already dealt with him. Let's go into the cute scene with, okay, Don, high five. Great. Let's go for sushi. Those are the kind of guys that will probably make those decisions, I'm thinking. I used to joke about that with a student of mine. We could talk about Dave and Don, who would come in and just ruin all our favorite TV shows and movies, right? So that's a funny, I like that theory. I think that's funny. But so Luke Skywalker was crapped all over. That was horrible. It's really, really bad. I can't think of anything that anyone could say. And if you have something that you think was positive about Luke Skywalker, like supremely positive, that rises above the crap that I'm talking about, please let me know. I'm not going to bite your head off.
I think he was, Mark Hamill was disappointed.
Oh, he was, of course. At first, he was like biting his lip because he didn't want to, disrupt the sales. And then after, he's like, no, that's not my Luke Skywalker. That is not my Luke Skywalker. And that is exactly what I've been saying. That is not my Luke Skywalker. Man.
Why did they choose to do that? I don't know.
That's the thing.
Because were they trying to make him like a crazy old Yoda? Like, you remember how Yoda was introduced and he was like a crazy old...
But he was still cool. He still gave a shit. He didn't throw lightsabers away, man. What the F? Okay, so that was ridiculous. And to choose to have this amazing story where Kylo Ren turns to the dark side and you don't focus on that? You don't focus on the fact that Luke has a Jedi Academy. You just focus that it's been destroyed. Luke's a bitch. And Kylo Ren's whining off somewhere as a Sith. Way to skip all the great stuff in this story and focus on the crap in the toilet. So see, and I get pissed off because very rarely do I say I could have written it better. Honestly, like very rarely do I say that, but I could have written a better movie than that. I guarantee I could have written the third one. Oh man,
there was just a lot of holes. Like, yeah, especially in the third.
There's
one.
a lot of things that won't put any work into.
Didn't make any sense. It's like, well, who was Luke?
Okay. So there was just so much stuff in this that there was no work put into. Somebody dropped the ball on the second and third one. The first one I liked. I know. I liked it. I was like, where are these characters going to go? I was very excited about it. Where did they go? They went nowhere. They went in the toilet. They really did. I thought Rey and Ren were great characters, man, but the connection sucked. That was a terrible connection, and that offended me. And then just to throw the Skywalker name on her at the end. Oh man, I saw YouTube videos of theaters that just at the end of that when she says, "Who are you?" I'm Ren Skywalker. They were throwing things at the screen. They were so pissed off that she said that. Like she should have been in my opinion, she should have been Kenobi's daughter. That would have made a lot more sense. And the main villain at the end should not have been Palpatine. That was just ridiculous. Who should have the main villain been at the end? I actually would have started bringing Thrawn in. I think that would have been great. Yeah, bring in Thrawn. And that changes it up because it's not a Sith. So bring in Thrawn, I think would have been a great idea. So I see. You're starting to see how I would have fleshed this out, and I did a whole episode on how I would have fleshed that out. But again, the reason we're douchey about this is because these are our heroes. And they, for me and a lot of my colleagues, they have been since we were kids. These are the things that help us get through. As I was saying, I was instead of having somebody to play with 24/7, I had some rad Star Wars toys, and it helped shape my career. I draw now. I am a comic book artist. I still teach 25% of the time. I love teaching. I'll probably never stop teaching, but 75% of my income of my job is drawing comic books. So I have to research Star Wars stuff. I have to research Marvel. And learning this along the way has helped it so that I can do what I do top shelf. That's why people come to me for art. I'm a published artist, comic book artist, proud of it. And that is why I am so douchey about Star Wars stuff. I think I explained that, right? I think that'll explain a lot of things right there.
Actually, some of the fan-created scenarios or little movie trailers have been pretty spot on.
Well, yeah.
But I'm just saying that fans can actually.
Okay, but yeah, the fans are great. That's great. So that's why we're very douchey about it. We take it very, very seriously. Some people even create their own movies. I've got tons of artwork I sell. I like the toys, stuff like that. It's great. Okay, so Star Wars. That's why we're so douchey. I didn't even touch on the comic books. Look at the comic books, man. And I collect tons of those. Like I have comic books that my comic book collection is immense. And I need that because I draw comic books for a living. I need to know what's going on. And plus, when I'm doing my podcast, I can go to the source. I don't have to Google it. I don't have to go on the internet. I just open my closet, pull out a comic book. Or a lot of it's funny because I can't remember my cell phone number, but I can remember what happened to the X-Men, in issue number 13 back in the 70s, 60s. You know what I mean?
That was birthday.
Juggernaut came along. Anyway, so I have such a good memory when it comes to that, but not with numbers. So that's Star Wars, my friends. We're going to switch over to, oh yeah, look at that, the cosplay. We love our Star Wars, folks. We really do. So that's why we're douchey. That's why we're touchy about it. We're very kind people, but if you're going to challenge us, be smart about it. That's all we ask. That's all we ask, my friends. If you're going to challenge us on our Star Wars love, our Star Wars devotion, our childhood, better be smart, because we are. Okay, cheers, true believers who have joined me on this first half of the Star Wars podcast here. Kids on the Escalator, Dean Blundell Network. Yeah, hope I didn't freak anybody out, scare anybody. I don't think that was too intense. All right, we're going to switch over to Marvel now. We're going to talk about the Doctor.
Finally, the treasure is mine.
Well, hold on there, buddy.
You're not Spider-Man.
Oh no, I'm Spider-Man
on.
with an O. Yeah, the show couldn't afford
Oh.
Spider-Man, so here I am.
Well, your sleeves, they don't even match. Do you
Yeah,
even
well-
have web shooters?
What? F*** you.
How cool is that? I love it. I love it. All right. Wow. Doctor Strange.
Let's do this one.
Okay, one sec. So Doctor Strange. That it's coming out, the trailer. The trailer's out. The movie's coming out. I'm stoked. I'm a huge Doctor Strange fan. This trailer blew my mind. I watched it once and I was kind of like, holy crap. And I watched it in a different language. That was really funny. I just accidentally watched it in a different language. And then I was working, so I did some more work and then I came back and I watched it again. Wow. I'm just brief history before we watch the trailer. 1963. The mid-60s was good to Marvel, huh? That's when they came up with so many awesome characters that are still around today. What was going on in the mid-60s? What a great time to be alive. Now, the creative team, you're going to remember this one, Steve Ditko and Stan Lee. We've all heard of Stan Lee. Steve Ditko rings a bell, doesn't it? That creative team of Lee and Ditko rings a bell, doesn't it? Same two that created Spider-Man. Okay, it wasn't Jack Kirby. For a while, Jack Kirby was, to me, artistic god. He was not in on Doctor Strange or Spider-Man. The reason he wasn't in on Doctor Strange was Ditko was drawing these psychedelic pictures. And if you Google Ditko's work, man, wow, he was a dude. There's a documentary on him that's just sensational. And his drawings were getting really psychedelic and stuff. He was starting to use clip art, and he was just perfect for Doctor Strange, for comic book wise. So 1963, Steve Ditko, Stan Lee created Doctor Strange in the comic book form. That's when it came out. Producer, can we check out the trailer?
Oh, true.
Yeah, let's check out the trailer for Doctor Strange and talk about it.
Okay.
This just blew my mind when this came out. I wasn't I've been kind of tooting that since Vision Scarlet Witch show, WandaVision, that this was going to be a good connection to Doctor Strange, and a lot of my predictions then came true. Here we go.
Is it loud enough? Yeah.
I can't hear anything. No, I can.
You hear it now?
Oh, it's coming through there.
What? This?
No, it's coming through.
I can't hear you.
I can hear it coming through there.
Oh. It's loud. I'm sorry.
I can't hear it. I can't hear it.
You can't hear it?
No.
Wait, just no sound? Oh.
All right. So the sounds, I don't know if you're listening on the podcast, so I don't know if the sound came through on that. So hopefully you don't think we went off the air there. Okay. So all right. I'm having a little difficulty showing the trailer. That's okay. Let me just get into this here, Lonnie, if you want to pop me back over. Thank you. Hey. All right. If you haven't seen the trailer properly, it just came out like last night or whatever. Just go to YouTube, check it out. Doctor Strange 2 trailer. I'm going to tell you a bit about what we're going to see in there. Now, the movie is being done by Sam Raimi. And if you know that name from a lot of movies, but he also did the first Spider-Man trilogy, okay? Back with Tobey Maguire. That was Sam Raimi. Woo! So he's going to do this one. Now, holy cow, Doctor Strange. I have so much information written down here that I'm going to take my time. Take a deep breath. Go through this, because this is huge. Okay. First of all, we're going to go through some universes here. Now, starting with WandaVision, at the very end, you saw her breaking apart the universes. And then they touched a little bit on that in Loki. They visited Kang, I believe it was. There was a formation of Kang. And he actually felt the universes being pulled apart. Okay? So, what we're doing, and I mentioned in the WandaVision thing, this is going to affect Doctor Strange. And the Doctor Strange chain reaction is going to affect the Marvel Universe. Huge. I even predicted the X-Men coming in. Nailed it. Nailed it, my friends. That's what I'm telling you. Dean Blundell channel, man. That's where you find news, not only on politics and sports, pop culture. Okay? So I nailed it. Just nailed it. We got the X-Men coming in. We've got the Illuminati coming in. We've got the Savage Land coming in. We've got America Chavez coming in. We've got Gargantos coming in. Wow! We may even have Superior Iron Man. Tom Cruise playing him coming in. What? I know what you're saying. What? Okay. Let's try and go through all this. I'm not going to do this in order of the trailer because we couldn't show it through anyway. That's okay. But what we're going to talk about here. Now, we're going to be dealing with lots of variants. Now, what do I mean by variants? I mean different forms of these heroes. So we've got Doctor Strange. We've got Dark Strange. Have you watched the What If episode of Doctor Strange? Go watch it after this. You will see who I'm talking about. We're going to see a variant of Wanda, which is, we've already seen, Scarlet Witch. She is not supposed to exist in this Marvel universe. No, she is not. Why is she here? How did she do that? She's going to get her kids back from what we witnessed in WandaVision. I'm telling you, WandaVision was fantastic. It's leading us to the X-Men. Okay, so we're dealing with variants. We're dealing with different universes here. All right, Marvel universes. Again, Spider-Man, we had different Spider-Man coming in. Do you see where I'm going here with this? What Marvel is trying to do is bring the Sony universe into the Marvel Disney universe so they can have them all be together, and to do it in a better way than they did with Star Wars. And they will do it because they're going to follow a lot of comic book stuff here, obviously. And the best stories you are going to find are from the comic books in this form of entertainment. Okay, so we've got variants of everything now. So what you're going to see is different, possibly a different Iron Man, a superior Iron Man, because we see these robots that look like Iron Man, cross between Iron Man and Ultron. Remember when Iron Man said, we're going to put a shield around the world? Superior Iron Man in the future, who could possibly be played by Tom Cruise, would have these Iron Man bots. And they brought Doctor Strange from wherever he is to these group of people. So it looks like, this is just interpretation, Superior Iron Man's bots grab Doctor Strange, bring him to this big kind of meeting room. And we come into this meeting room where we are seeing these people, shadows of them on top of a balcony kind of thing where they're sitting on chairs. This is the Illuminati. Now, in the comic book in the Illuminati, the Illuminati is in the Marvel universe is as important as the Illuminati as we talk about in real life. Now, these are heroes that are keeping an eye on heroes of the of Earth. There we are, right there, to make sure that they're not effing with anything. Now, Doctor Strange is caught screwing with something, as I mentioned. He's playing with some universes here, and also Scarlet Witch she shouldn't exist here. She's been pulled in as well. So in the comic book, you can see here, if you're not watching, you can't see what's going on here. But in the Illuminati in the comic book, we have Mr. Fantastic representing the Fantastic Four. We have Professor X representing the X-Men, the mutants. We have Doctor Strange representing spiritual, the other worlds. We have Namor representing where's Namor from? From Atlantis. Sorry, Atlantis. And Black Bolt representing the Inhumans. Now, there's also rumors that the original Black Bolt actor has been asked to come back. Makes sense. And then the last person on the list is Iron Man. Supreme Iron Man? Superior Iron Man? I think this is possible. Now, in the shadows that you will see in the trailer, one of them, they're changing it up a bit from the comic book, okay? One of them you can tell is Mordo. He was in the first Doctor Strange, and he is in this trailer as well. He is the one who puts the handcuffs on him and brings him to the Iron Man robot. So he's one of the 6 Illuminati. You can see there's 5 chairs. One chair's missing because he doesn't need a chair. He rolls in. Lonnie, do we see where he rolls in? Is there a picture where he rolls in? And we know who that person is who rolls in. He's in a wheelchair. And he is Professor X. I thought you had a picture with just the side of his head there, kind of at the side.
Oh.
So anyway, so he rolls in. Oh, there's right there. Yeah. So he rolls into the side of the screen. Rolls in. And then we hear Patrick Stewart's voice. Should we tell him? Wow, he's one of the Illuminati. So this is amazing. This is mutants. We're bringing them in. Now, there's another figure there that looks like Black Panther. Now, in the comic book, Black Panther was asked to come in to represent Wakanda. He denied. He said no. So maybe we have him in there instead of Namor. Possibly, but it looks like Black Panther. This could be another universe Black Panther. This could be Killmonger with Black Panther, or they could have a new actor for the Black Panther character. This is super interesting to find out. So, I've told you who the 5 Illuminati characters were in the comic books. Now, in the movies, we got Doctor Strange. We've got Baron Mordo in there. We've got Professor X. Boom, just love it. We've got, it looks like Black Panther, and there's somebody there that huge. I'm thinking it looks like the Beast, like Hank McCoy. I can't think of who else that would be. That would be 2 people representing the mutants, which would be odd. I don't know who that would be. It looks like Beast to me, Hank McCoy, but he's huge. You can see in the chairs. So you got the Black Panther person over here, smaller and sitting in the chair, and this person over here is like this much bigger. So it's that way. Now, and another thing too is I can't remember if Mordo actually sat in a chair, but he's walking across. So the Illuminati grabs Doc Strange. He's been breaking the rules. And that's what the Illuminati is supposed to do, is make sure nobody's breaking other universes open. And it looks like Doctor Strange cracked open some stuff in Spider-Man. I don't want to spoil anything in Spider-Man, but he cracks open some things that start the chain reaction. But so we went from WandaVision to Spider-Man. Now we're going to the newest Doctor Strange. Now, what else can we talk about here? Holy cow. Now, if you break down, there's a shattered glass image in there. And if you slow it down and look at all the little shards of glass, because us Marvel fans, we love looking at that little stuff. Check this out. This blew my mind. You look at those little shards of glass broken up. You got Deadpool. Yes, Deadpool. Probably one of my top 3 comic book movies ever is any of the Deadpools, because Ryan Reynolds is amazing and Deadpool is a great character and he's Canadian. So there's Deadpool in one of the shards. There is also, now I mentioned the What If cartoon. You need to watch the Doctor Strange one. Peggy Carter from the What If episode. Her shield is in one of the shards of glass. Amazing. Amazing. So she's in there for that. So little Easter eggs in there, right? So what are we seeing? We're seeing Peggy Carter, alternate. We're seeing, and then one of the worlds in behind the glass too, you can see is cartoon. So I think we're going to actually go into a cartoon world in this movie. Fantastic. Okay. Now another big thing. This could relate back to the Superior Iron Man. Now it looks like maybe Captain Marvel or somebody's coming through. You can see somebody popping through space to fight Scarlet Witch, Wanda, and wow, just sends Scarlet Witch flying in this action sequence. Now, it's kind of good that we don't have all these pictures for it. Sorry for the video, but for the people listening, I'm describing this for you. This is what's happening. So you have this figure flying through like space, right through to Earth. It looks like Captain Marvel, but when you really look at it, I don't know. It almost could be, and they're shown twice, and they kind of look different both times. The one kind of looks like Monica Rambeau, and then in the second scene, when the person comes in, it actually looks like Iron Man. Whoa. Are the rumors true? Is Tom Cruise coming to the Marvel Universe? As my producer shakes her head because she doesn't like Scientology. Is Tom Cruise coming to play superior Iron Man, a futuristic Tony Stark? My mom likes that. She'd be like, oh, yeah, Tom Cruise. My mom's old school. She likes Tom Cruise. So, so hey, Mom, Tom Cruise might be playing the new Iron Man, which would be kind of neat. So the superior Iron Man is a pretty cool story in itself, but that's another video, right? But he will be part of this Doctor Strange movie, possibly. Looks like it. Monica Rambeau, one or the other, right? What else do we got here that I want to talk about for this? Part of the reason that we have Tony Stark, future Tony Stark, superior Iron Man, part of the Illuminati. What he does is he makes this armor and outfits for the Illuminati so that they can wear parts of the gemstones, the Infinity Stones that we've seen. You don't know what the Infinity Stones are, or the gemstones, whatever they're calling them these days. Wow, you need some research. But so they kept these stones in their armor. So superior Iron Man, superior Iron Man is really smart. He is superior. And he made armor for all of the Illuminati so they could wear these stones. So they could harness the stones. Remember, Thanos had to have the glove to harness them, right? Tony Stark, superior Iron Man, he created a suit that could hold all those gemstones. How cool is that? Wow, that's just a great story in itself. Okay. America Chavez is in there. Now, the star's on her. You'll see her come in. Everybody's like, who's that? Who's that character? She's, again, from another dimension, and she makes portholes through these dimensions in the shapes of stars. And she has a star on her back, I believe, too. So you'll see her going through portholes, and we see the Savage world, Savage Land in one of these times when they're going through the portholes, which is great. It could just be for a second, or it could be for a while. But Savage Land, again, X-Men ties there. So cool. And that is... with the Savage Land, there is dinosaurs and stuff like that. It's just what it sounds like, Savage Land. And that's, again, where the scenes where they're breaking through and you can see a cartoon scene behind it, which is fantastic. Fantastic. Okay. Wow, we're almost through it. I think, my friends, we got this. Okay, there's the tentacle creature. Big emphasis on the tentacles as well, right? You see all the tentacles going through. So what is with the tentacles, and who is that? That is Gargantos. Tentacles. Big eyeball. So he looks like he's going to be one of the main villains. They show tentacles through the Marvel logo. I can expand on him in another video. Again, too much to tell about some of these characters. Baron Mordo's back. We've had him in the first, and he was in the hidden scene where he was kind of cleaning up too many wizards. So, of course, he's going to come in here, and he's going to be the first one that takes care of Doctor Strange. Picking up where the hidden scene from Doc Strange #1 leaves off, right? Okay, so, yeah, that's where we're at. The big thing, Scarlet Witch is going to be incredible. Hopefully they bring in some ties with Magneto. In the comic books, if you didn't know, Magneto is Scarlet Witch and Pietro Quicksilver's father, and they are mutants, and it is awesome. So I'm really hoping to see Magneto come in. He is one of my favorite characters. Some crap I've seen online is that they need to change his history. No, they don't. He needs to be part of the Nazi war there. He needs to be, he needs to have his history. If you don't know the history of Magneto, watch the beginning of X-Men #1, one of the most brilliant intros to a movie ever, and so heartfelt. And you see why Magneto is Magneto. And I love these stories when they've set layers to them. See, this is, again, getting back to, I'm just going to finish off here. Friends, thanks for sticking around for everything. I'm just going to finish off here just with a little comparison between the Star Wars of late, the newest ones, compared to some of the writing with Marvel and how different they have approached things. Now, everything ties together with Marvel. We've discussed this before. The last Star Wars was so just disjointed. I think that was one of my biggest complaints about it, that there wasn't layers to these characters. You look at any Marvel character who has had his own spotlight. There's layers to this character. Peter Parker with his uncle, and him just being a nerd, him being not a popular kid, and him not using his powers to be popular. How many people would do that? I wouldn't have did that. If you had those powers when you were young, wouldn't you have kicked the crap out of Flash Thompson? Maybe not even in front of each other, but just like, hey, Flash, come here down this alley for a minute here. Yeah, those are layers, man. Those are layers. That's great storytelling. Now, in the future, what I would love to see on the side of Star Wars, I would love to see a TV show on Darth Plagueis. We're going back, right? So I would like to go back instead of going forward. I think I'm really scared of what they're going to bring up with new stuff. So I would love to see them go back and see a little bit of Darth Plagueis, who was the master of Darth Sidious. And Darth Sidious killed Darth Plagueis in his sleep while he drank. And then this is that would be such a great story to see a younger Sidious, but just TV show. Doesn't need to be a movie. Now, as far as the movies go in Star Wars, I would love to see them again go back. I like to see them go back to the High Republic days. Let's go back and use some of these characters again from the comic books, from the new canon, and let's expose the history of the Sith, of the Jedi. I think that would be great, and I think they could do it in a really, really amazing way with the technology they have today and with the storytellers they have today, if they do it properly. Because a lot of these characters in the newer stories about the older Star Wars stories in the High Republic are very, very well written. They're the earlier Jedis, and you know, the rules change as they go along. So you get to see some of the history of it. Now, I'm actually more interested in seeing the history of the Sith. So I would love to see a little more of that too. I would love to see a TV show on. It's almost like a History Channel show on the Sith. I think that'd be great. That's where I would love to see the movies go. Is back to High Republic days. I'd also love to see the TV show go back, but not as far. I'd like to see the TV show go back to Darth Plagueis, which would be great. Now, as far as Marvel movies, I love where they're going with this, with the Illuminati and everything. Holy cow, different universes. It had to happen to bring in the, as I like to say, the PlayStation universe there, right? The Sony universe. So this had to happen, the disruption of the universes. And they had to do it in the comic books too, just to make more stories. You know, you get limited. Like Peter Parker, how old would he be right now, really? You know, if he was born in 1963, he'd be pretty old. You do the math. I'm not good with numbers. So, going forward with Marvel, I really like what they're doing. Very rarely do they slip up in my opinion. I think they really rely on the source material, which is gold. To back it up, I always say, like, when you create a character from the 60s that is still basically identically looking the same, the origin is the same, and you wrote this in the 60s and it holds up till today and is one of the biggest money makers of any kind of pop culture entertainment, man, you don't need to change anything. You really don't. You just got to stick with the good stories. As far as some Spider-Man stuff, we haven't seen Kraven yet. I think maybe I heard something about an Easter egg maybe coming up, which would be great. Kraven the Hunter would be a great Spider-Man villain to come up, because it's just mono on mono kind of thing. And of course, Daredevil. We're looking at Daredevil coming up soon, and Daredevil's gold. If you've watched this before, you know Daredevil's my favorite comic book. The best TV show I think Marvel has put out has been the Daredevil series. So friggin' good, man. So friggin' good. So that's coming around again. I'll be talking about that. And the comic books for Daredevil are great. As I mentioned before, if you are wanting to get into the comic book reading, and you can be as old as you want, it's okay. It's okay. When I go to the comic book store, most of the people buying the comic books are around my age, and the guy selling them is my age. It's all good, my friends. It's all good. Is that Jimmy? Hey, do we got Jimmy now? I think we got Jimmy here now. Hey, there's Jedi Jimmy. How's it going, buddy?
Pretty good, man.
Excellent. It's good to see you. How was your day, my friend?
Good. A little hungover from yesterday.
That'll happen. What was going on yesterday?
Super Bowl.
Oh, the Super Bowl. See, I just go for the pizza and the commercials there.
A reason to day drink.
There you go, buddy. There you go. Right on. So it's good to have you. So I went into detail about back when I was a kid. My very first exposure to Star Wars was my cousin showing up. So I was in a smaller town. My cousin was from Toronto, and he would always come in and kind of get me up to date on, there's BMX stores, there's like comic book stores. And he came with this shirt, and it was Han Solo and Chewie, one of those iron-on ones, right, buddy? And I was like, well, what's that? And he says to me, this is the greatest thing in the world. So my parents took me to see it like 3 times. And, the toys, we showed the toys, and I was sold. And I was going on about how sports guys have their Wayne Gretzky's and their football heroes. And a guy like me had Luke Skywalker. And he was my hero. I wore him on my shirt. And then when the second episode came out of the new Star Wars, and he threw that lightsaber over his shoulder, and the story basically pissed on him through the whole thing, I was offended. And it turned me into a douche. And whenever I talk to people about that, I couldn't get anybody like, if, oh, well, no, that movie was good because of this. They would never give me anything that was intelligent. And whenever I was bullied about Star Wars, it was never anything intelligent they would say to me. Well, you're a nerd, you're a geek. Okay, well, yeah, but it's the storyline's like this and this. You're still a geek. So my whole point was that if you're going to come at us with this stuff, hacking on Star Wars, and it's not intelligent, we're going to get douchey about it. We're going to get angry. And these are my heroes, like some people's sports heroes. So that was my point, Jimmy, about why I'm douchey about it. So I would love to hear your first exposure to Star Wars and why what sets the hair on the back of your neck up when people hack on Star Wars? Like, what pisses you off about it? All you, buddy.
So my big thing with the whole Star Wars, my first introduction to it was actually Return of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
I lived in a small town, Tabor. We had a movie theater. My first was seeing Return of the Jedi in the theater, and I was hooked. But my being hooked was the lightsaber. Stuff like Luke and Vader, like that. That's what hooked me is the whole lightsaber stuff. And then we started following the other movies, then we watched on Laserdisc back in the day, the original too, like Empire Strikes Back, Empire Strikes Back to this day is still my favorite of all time. The whole, like, everything about it, like Yoda, and that's what kind of got me hooked. And I fight with a lot of people about, oh, this is bad for this reason, and it's not a valid reason. It makes no sense. That's because just because you can't understand it doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means you're a moron.
Exactly.
Like just because it's above your intellect of where it is, that's what angers me. I argue with my nephew about it, and I think he does it just to annoy me. But it's that. It's just because you don't understand why it's the way it is, doesn't mean it's bad. It just means you don't get it.
Yeah. And we like you were saying, like screaming at the television at like 2 a.m. or whatever, right? Like people scream at the television when they're watching sports too. It's just a different passion, and there's nothing wrong with each of them. So
yeah, it is like I saw people screaming and yelling watching the football game yesterday. And I was just there to drink. I don't even know who won.
No, I know, right, buddy? Yeah. The commercials are always good. And again, I'm always up for the beer and the pizza and the wings there, So I was also discussing the TV shows, man. I love the way they're going kind of in the middle, going forward with some new characters, but I would love to see a TV show on Darth Plagueis. For some reason, I want to see that little Sidious, Darth Sidious, Now, you're familiar with Darth Plagueis?
Yes. The Darth Plagueis the Wise.
Yeah. And so I always found him very intriguing because I found him to be a different kind of Sith. He was a little quieter, right? So I would love to see a TV series on that. And then movie wise, again, I would kind of like to go back to like the beginning of the Sith, the beginning of the Jedi, the early days. I want some more information on that. The High Republic days even would be cool for me movie wise.
Like the High Republic would be really cool where there's more Jedi, and then the Sith, there's so much. But also I would love to see like kind of the same way, but during like the in-between times, like with more Inquisitors and all that kind of stuff too, where you have all these Sith assassins coming in and coming in play on this.
A Darth Vader TV show would be great as well, because then you could do that whole thing where he was out there with the Inquisitors. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Yeah, the Inquisitors. Yeah, because you have the Grand Inquisitor, and
so having him out with them, that would be a cool TV show. It'd be so dark.
Yeah, also seeing where the Inquisitors came from. Like, are they Jedi that kind of turned to work with the Empire? Like the one Inquisitor, the Grand Inquisitor, looks a lot like one of the in Rebels, looks a lot like one of the Guardians of the Force with that's Kanan meets in the temple.
Yeah.
So, like, did some of them turn bad? Like, how did that work?
Right,
You know,
because it's so
that's
you could do a story where basically you did each of the basically fallen Jedi who started hunting their own kind, or Sith that joined up, or whatever, right? You could do
yeah,
each character, and then the very last one, you just show them going out and taking over and what they did. That, because then you'd add layered each character, and then the very last episode with them all together, showing them taking down all the Jedi. You'd kind of care a little more, right?
yeah.
That'd be a great one, man. See, we should be running the show, right? We should be involved.
But like with the way they're talking about Obi-Wan, they have cast someone as the Grand Inquisitor.
Oh, you're kidding! Oh, so what have you heard about that? Let me hear. What have you heard about Obi-Wan?
It's what's his name? Rupert Friend is going to be playing the guy who is going to be one of the Grand Inquisitors, or the Inquisitor, which is probably hunting for Obi-Wan.
Oh,
so
we may see just what I described: Darth Vader's and the Inquisitors in Obi-Wan. It sounds like then.
It's like they're saying that Darth Vader is going to be in Obi-Wan, or at least, and if they have an Inquisitor, like that's going to be next level.
Yeah, wouldn't it be great if it was like an Obi-Wan / Darth Vader show? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
they kind of went back and forth between the two of them, the way the Mando and Boba Fett did. That would be pretty decent. I love Darth Vader. Like, just great character.
And I have a feeling in the Obi-Wan series as well, Ahsoka will probably make an appearance.
Right.
As well, because she has to be involved in at least finding out the reality that her master is the Dark Lord of the Sith now, because that's in Rebels, that's a big point of contention for her when she first senses him. Is so that's going to happen, I'm thinking, but she doesn't end there because she ends up later on with Luke as he's older.
Yeah. That was mind blowing when that happened too. I just to have the two of them together was like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And again, what a great kind of story thing that would have been for Luke in the newer movies, instead of what they did with him. Like, instead of showing Luke in the new movies just at the lowest he's ever been, man, him and Ahsoka would have had some probably pretty good adventures looking for Jedi and stuff. You know what I mean?
They might be getting into that a little bit, or at least her side of the story. Dealing
I'm
with
looking forward to that. So have you seen all of her cartoon episodes, basically, the Clone Wars and all that?
I've seen all the Clone Wars, all the Rebels, all of it. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. It's hard to, some of them you can tell it's like, okay, well, we've got to make one for kids, and then it ramps right back up. Like, wow, how can kids watch this? Because some of the violence, like when Savage and Darth Maul kind of took over the storyline. Whoa, that was dark.
Oh yeah, they were insane. Or the episode with the witches.
Oh, that was great. Dathomir? Was that Dathomir?
Yeah, Dathomir. Where Sabine ends up getting the dark saber.
Yes. See, what great stories they like. See, this is what gets me, Jimmy. And I relate to a guy named Dave and Don in the boardroom. Okay, guys, here's what we could do for our new Star Wars movie. We could do this and that. No, you know what I like, Dave? What's that? Let's have Luke Skywalker squeezing some boobs on a purple cow. Okay, Don, that sounds great. You know, and they high five and don't know anything about Star Wars, right? But man, because that part, I couldn't believe that part in the cartoon, Jimmy. That blew my mind that they went into that much detail and got that scary with it.
It was so impressive, but it also showed the scope of the dark side and how actually sinister the dark side is. Like with their force, basically they're force ghosts that can take over people, and it just showed how truly evil the dark side is.
It was more of a horror movie than a sci-fi movie, right? It was great, or like horror TV show.
Exactly. But it was so awesome, and again, it shows if they have that kind of creativity with these series coming forward, and go a little bit on the dark side. Good guys don't always have to win. That's kind of why Empire Strikes Back was so good, is because the bad guys were bad and they were cheating and they were winning and they were, and like they didn't
Like a
win
classic
in the
wrestling
end.
match, right? It's like
Yeah.
a classic wrestling match.
The heels won, and then they come back. Then they come back in the next episode and win the day eventually.
Yep.
And,
It's like the beat. It's like they get the belt. Like the good people get the belt, but the bad guys beat the crap out of them outside of the ring, and they walk away going, "Woohoo! There's your champion."
You can't have the happy smiley all the time. You have to have, the bad guys have to win a little bit or lose. Yeah.
And I think the storyline that we're talking about with the cartoon is where Filoni maybe started really, wrapping his head around everything. Like it was just like, because I can remember thinking too, when I wasn't paying attention to who was writing it, I was just kind of like watching it, binge watching it while I was working, doing some comic work, right? And I can remember getting to the point where I was like, wow, who's writing this? Because this is like, I couldn't stop. I know when I'm watching something good when I kind of stop drawing and I don't realize it. I'm just kind of staring at the TV, right? And I found myself more and more stopping and just like, wow, and the credits come up and I'm kind of going like, holy crap, who wrote that? So I started looking into it more at that point. But I don't know. I think that maybe was when he started getting his steam going, huh?
But that, and the thing is though, is like during that stuff, you realize, I think it was at that point that they realized, okay, this isn't just for kids. This is for the nerd, like the adults, the nerds that love this stuff, that you need to see a little bit more almost adult-ish, like a little bit of the violence and the heavy. And
man. Well, the history of the witches was really cool. And see, Darth Maul was such a complex character as well. I've had a lot of, it's tough when he got cut in half, right? But, and then again, it's like, well, you don't know how these aliens organs work in there, right? You know what I mean? You don't know how,
or even how the dark side works. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the dark side is,
I'd love to see Darth Maul on that spider body in a live action setting. I think that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I could almost see him showing up in Obi-Wan, because it would be around the same time frame as he showed up in Rebels, or it's a little younger, I guess. I'm not sure.
It could always be a flashback too, right, buddy? Because he's such a in Obi-Wan's mind, such a villain. Because remember, he killed Obi-Wan's girlfriend,
and also his master.
Right. So, man, see, this is a thing that a lot of people of the new writing and generation of Star Wars, other than Filoni, are missing. And see, I missed it too, just because of what's been fed to me. But you nailed it there, my friend. See, this is why you're gold with this stuff. Like that's it right there. You're nailing it.
Yeah, it's like it could take it to a totally different level if they do that. But again, they might be planning on multiple seasons of that as well. It just depends on if it picks up like Mando did, or like Book of Boba Fett. You know there's going to be another season. Like it's almost guaranteed. And it's going to be multiple seasons of even Obi-Wan. Like it's leading up to where where he sees Luke in episode 4.
Yeah. And that's exciting. I love getting the gaps filled in on stuff, that you've seen. See, that's why I love the comic books so much. And if you get a chance, you just get the trade paperbacks. If you can't, just ask the comic book store guy, man. But there's a Darth Vader series, dude, that is just Emperor Palpatine treat. And this is right after Star Wars New Hope. That starts there right after Death Star blows up. Vader returns to Palpatine, and Palpatine, bitch, you are useless. No more lightsaber for you, man. And not only that, taking this armor from you, taking this from you. I'm going to send you down to this planet. You're going to prove that you are still worthy. So he takes Vader, strips him of his lightsaber, strips him of like a bunch of his armor, drops him off on this planet, dude, and he has to redeem himself by finding this some kind of gem thing or something, right? And then he has to find. Oh, okay. They call it the holocron. They call it something different in the newer ones, I think.
Okay.
So Palpatine drops him off on this planet with no weapons. Part of his armor's gone. He's exposed, and he has to find this gem kind of thing. And oh man, the story's amazing. So he finds it. He eventually makes his way back. But to make it even trickier, Palpatine hires all these bounty hunters just to F with him, dude. It's so good. Like it's so good. So you really feel for Darth Vader. You feel how much he was tricked, and just how badly Palpatine treated him, man. So you got to check those out. You got to check those out. Who's your favorite Sith?
So I don't know if I have a favorite. I like Darth Sidious, just because of how conniving he is and back end, and he's playing both sides against each other.
Yeah,
I think that's the big thing. It's just the whole he playing a good guy and a bad guy at the same time, saying and hiding everything from the Jedi.
Yeah, his master plan was wicked, dude. Just wicked.
I have to go with Sidious.
Yeah. See that's I'm getting a bit of an echo there. Okay. So yeah, that's why I kind of want to see more on Darth Plagueis, because I like Sidious so much that you don't see too much on Plagueis. Like I've listened to the audiobook and stuff, which I thought was fantastic. So to see Sidious is my favorite Sith as well. I'd love to see him younger, just the teenage mind of him, and just him growing up, I think would be really cool.
And then him killing his master, because that's what he inevitably does.
Because he gets him all drunk, right?
Yeah, and kills him when he's sleeping.
Yeah. So it's a sneak. So who's your favorite Jedi then? I got Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan's my favorite Jedi.
I'm a Yoda. I'm a Yoda guy.
Yeah.
Because, he's lived for 900 years for one. And so he's been towards the beginning of the Jedi. Like he was part of the council back during the High Republic days. He was with, and then he is everybody's master at one point. And then he's seen all these different Jedi leave and join the Sith. But he's still steadfast in he doesn't lose hope. He doesn't lose focus on keeping the Jedi Order going. And that's why I'm a huge fan of Yoda, is because of the whole, he's who he is, and he's just locked in.
Yeah. He was the only Jedi in there's the Attack of the Clones, the Revenge of the Sith, the first three, basically.
Yeah.
He was the only Jedi because they were so arrogant, and he was the only one that wasn't. I don't know if anybody else picked up on that, but they're the Sith could never make it in here. You don't know what you're talking about.
But he was also the voice of reason. Well, the dark side clouds everything. You don't know.
Yeah.
Or when Obi-Wan says, if it wasn't for the clone army, we wouldn't have won the day. And he goes, we didn't win.
Yeah. Victory? Yeah.
We didn't win.
That's right.
And he's the only one that kept to the thing. Like, humble is, I guess, the best way to put him. It's not, we're the best. It's, no, there's something else out there. And he saw it coming, but he didn't know where or how it was coming.
Exactly. Whereas the other Jedis were getting pretty pompous, man. Their attitudes toward things were. I was even I remember not the first time I watched, but after I rewatched Attack of the Clones a few times, I was even like, man, those Jedi are getting a little cocky there. That's not cool, man. I can see why they're starting to dislike them.
Yeah,
they almost started to act like a church. You know what I mean? Like a religious group that were better than everybody. So except for Yoda, he was the only one that I thought kind of kept it on a level there. So I could see why you'd like him.
Because even when you look at the Clone Wars or any of that kind of stuff, like when Ahsoka left the Order and she was in the bowels of Coruscant, all the people that lived on Coruscant saw Jedi as they think they're better than everybody else. They aren't helping the people down below. They are more about living up the image of being a Jedi rather than actually being in service, which they claim that they're supposed to be, and yet they're not helping the people in their own backyard.
Yeah. They'll come arrest us, but they won't come help us, right?
Yeah. Like, we're starving to death, and and Ahsoka had no idea when she went down there how bad it was in the bowels of the city.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the story writing's great, right? Like the layers they put in there, man. I really appreciate that kind of stuff for sure. Okay, buddy. What's that? No, I think we better wrap her up now. We've been on here for an hour. So hey, I have something for you though, a picture. I don't know if you've got it yet. Did I send you a picture yet?
I don't think so.
No. Oh, can you show it, Lonnie? I'm going to show it to you. There it is, Jimmy.
Oh,
can you see it on the screen?
I just kicked out of the Zoom to look at my thing. Just give me 1 second here. Where's my Zoom? Oh, wait. No, never mind. I'm just a moron.
Take your time, buddy. That's all good.
Oh, sweet.
There you go, buddy. So I did that for you. So you got it's hard to read. You got Bantha beer. I got you the pink lightsaber to go with your deal you got going on there, right? The anti-bullying thing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to send you a digital copy of that, and I can send you some printed copies of that. And you do what you want with them, my friend. Those are yours, man.
Oh, like, that's if you want so cool.
Yeah, buddy.
So you build these yourself?
Oh, yeah. What I do is I pencil and ink it first on paper. So I have a black and white of that as well, the original sketch on paper. And then I take it to my wife here in the computer room. She scans it in, and she colors it all up in Photoshop and makes it look, she puts the Bantha beer on there and everything, right? And so we're a team here, which is great, because if I didn't have somebody take care of the computer side of things, I'd be lost. I'm old school, Jimmy. I pencil and ink, man. And I'm talking I use like a brush sometimes and that old ink that you used to see, Yeah. So that's for you, my friend. And you, whatever, awesome. I'm going to send you a digital copy, and I'm going to send you a couple copies printed.
Well, that's cool.
They're yours, my friend. They're yours. So tell us about what you got going on with that.
Oh, with the pink shirt day.
Yeah.
I'm still so stoked. It's happening again on the 23rd of February.
Great.
And I've got like 2 Olympians on with me. Wow. Like Kelly Filardo, I've met her a couple of times. Mm-hmm. She's at the age of 12 had like burns over, I think it was 60% of her body. Oh, wow. And she dealt with like bullying, and she does kind of the same kind of thing and talks to kids about bullying and how it affects people, and it's a lot more than you think. And like, it's going to be awesome. Like right now we already have, I think 20 schools on board.
Wow.
Like to log in, and it's going to be through the Dean Blundell network. Mm-hmm. It's going to be on Restream. I'm so excited about it. It's going to be pretty cool.
Awesome, buddy. We're behind you 100%. That's great.
And the whole bullying thing is so important to me. And I was talking to my mom about it yesterday, and a common question I was asked when I was going through that when I was a kid is, would I change it? I hated being bullied. It was one of the worst things, but I don't know if I would change it, because it's made me who I am. All the things that I've been through, all the things that now impassion me is because of what I went through. Like, there were some horrible things, like being put in a hospital and all that kind of stuff. And it was horrendous, but yet I still was, I'm here. Like, it's just, I made it through. I got into radio because of it and all these different things. So my message is like kind of 2-pronged. Yeah. 1, don't bully. And 2, push through. And you're not alone. Like you can make it through it. And it made me a stronger person. Like, I wouldn't be in radio if I didn't have that confidence within me to go, laugh at myself, and smile, when dumb things happen, as they all do. And that's the big message that Pink Shirt Day is 1, don't do it. And 2, you're okay. Like, you'll make it through it. Just
hang in there
and don't give up. There's been a number, like so many cases of people giving up, or they give up and they think they have no other, and resort to violence, like school shootings and or suicide. And like, there's 2 people close in my life that have tried to kill themselves, and they felt like they had no choice. And we all have a choice. We all can make it through things, and that's where my passion is. Like the guys make fun of my Star Wars addiction horrendously, but again, I look at it as you don't understand it. So yeah, I call them muggles, and
nice, yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, we both like that here over here. Producer likes that.
In Harry Potter, they're the non-magic users, and they're the non-nerds. It's you're inferior to the real nerds.
The mouth breathers, right?
Exactly.
I love it. Awesome. Well, that's a great cause, buddy. And you're very passionate about it. Sorry to hear that you were bullied, but I'm glad that you're a great example of being strong and rising above it and using that kind of negativity in a positive way, right?
Yeah, and I wasn't alone, and that's the thing is I had the support of my family through all of it. Like my mom, like even every once in a while she listens to the show and how the guys rag on me, and she gets annoyed by it because she knows the kind of stuff I went through.
Yeah.
But I've had conversations with my family, and my dad said the same thing. Is I had the most struggles growing up, like with the bullying and being short and medical issues and all this other kind of stuff. But I've made something of myself. I don't ask for help. I'm on my own. Like I'm on a radio show. I have my own podcast. I'm a stripper. I do all these different things, and it's just I own who I am, and I'm not. And I don't. No one paints me with their brush. I guess you can say self-painted. I own who I am, and
that's awesome. That is how many people are trying to do that in life, like trying to market themselves. Like that's what I do too. But I was talking about that off the top of the show that I have a hard time being political because I still want to sell my comic book to everybody. You know what I mean? Like, so I can't take that lane. Yeah, buddy. I hear you 100%.
Like it's just like even with the guys on the show, there's so many times. Like I was out at the bar yesterday with Grant, and there was people at the bar, and they're like, Grant's sitting right across the table from me, and they go, "Hey Jimmy, how's it going? Where's the rest of the guys?" And I'm like, "Grant's sitting right there," and he had no idea who Grant was to see him.
Yeah,
but and I've had the same issue with Locke, and Locke's been in radio since. It was a string and cans. Like he was started in radio when I was still in high school, and I'm recognized more than he is, and it's kind of cool. Yeah. But again, I stand out. I'm the only little person in radio in Edmonton area, probably in Alberta, but I'm everywhere.
But you're killing it.
But I own it. Like I'm who I am, and people say, "Hey, like." I'm doing a birthday party on this week, and I'm dressing up as a mini me for a birthday party. So they pay for me to be there, my food, my booze, and I'm wandering around with all these guys for a birthday party, and it's a bunch of 18-year-olds. I'm closing on 50. I'm gonna be partying with a bunch of 18-year-olds, and they're gonna try and outdrink me. That's good luck.
That'll be the funniest part, right?
Yeah, like. And it's but again, I sometimes look at my life and like what I do, and I'm like, I never would have seen this in a million years.
That's awesome. But as I say, buddy, self-promotion and just promoting Jimmy White, like having that be, it's not like, hey, I'm Chris, I work for IBM. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, I'm Jimmy White. I work for Jimmy White. I love that on Facebook when you see that with somebody, right? It's like, their name and who do they work for? They work for themselves. And I'm always thinking, good job, but to whoever the person is, good job, man. Because that is hard to do, man. And with everything you're saying you went through, man, that's even tougher and good for you. As I say, there's so many people that are trying to do what you're doing and failing.
Yeah. And the thing I like about it is people see this and see who I am and what I do and all this. And I hope it gives some people hope that they can, they're struggling and that they can, make something of themselves and like who they are. I don't define myself by how people see me. I define myself by how I see me, and where I'm going.
That's the best way to go, my friend. Great. So, are you still doing the Jedi Jimmy? Are you still doing the Jedi Jimmy thing on the podcasting, or is that...
I have one more I have one more like a complete breakdown of the whole, like my whole take of the entire series.
Excellent.
And then after that, I'm working on a Jedi Jimmy podcast, but it's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to be demonstrating all 7 forms of lightsaber combat with like, so going right from 1 through 7 and explaining which Jedis capitalize on what and all that kind of stuff, and demonstrating some of the techniques.
See, the network needs more of this, buddy. Huh?
Yeah. So it's like if I love this stuff. That's like, you know, when you asked at the beginning what impassioned me about Star Wars is the whole lightsaber combat and the whole you know, like deflecting the laser bolts and you know, the flipping all over the place. Like I remember seeing episode 2, and when Yoda comes limping in, and then he kicks on the lightsaber and starts bouncing off ships and flipping all over the place. I remember seeing that in the theater, and the whole theater just erupted. And it was,
We were all waiting to see Yoda kick some ass. Like even like in the old, like from when I was a kid, I was like, man, I wish I could see Yoda when he was young, and because it was hard when you're young. It's like I can't picture him, and then all the years go by and you see it happen. You're like, oh, yes,
Or an episode in episode 3 when those clone troopers were coming behind him after Order 66, and he just flips and cuts their business, and it's. Like
he was great in Revenge of the Sith. Like that's my favorite Star Wars movie. If I remove like my heart feelings from, like, cause A New Hope's my all-time favorite movie of all time. But if I remove my whole heart from it, I Revenge of the Sith, I just thought was written so well. And I was waiting to see that transformation, and the special effects were where they needed to be and not too much. And I just really liked the turning of Anakin. I have a hard time watching it because it hits me so much.
Yeah,
the way he, you know, it just, and how he was tricked. Like Palpatine was a genius. That guy was, and rewatching it, just seeing how smart Palpatine was in the way they Easter egged that all along was brilliant. So brilliant.
And there's something there. Of the prequels, I wasn't a fan of Attack of the Clones. Just how they built like Anakin up and how he started to snowball and the whole thing. And like my least favorite part was when he was talking to Padme, and I just slaughtered all the Tuscans, all the Sand people. Oh, that's okay. You're just human. It's you know, don't worry about it. It happens. I'm like, how does it happen? He just, like, he even said, killed the women and the children. Like,
I literally just watched that scene, buddy. I killed them all. I hate them. I killed the women. I killed the children. Yeah, I just watched that scene, buddy.
And she goes, "Oh, no, you're human," you know. And I'm like,
dude, here's the thing I was noticing about. I think I mentioned at the beginning is some of the dialogue. George Lucas or whoever's writing the dialogue back in those days had a hard time writing for females or any kind of romantic thing. Like when they were when he was on that creature in the fields of whatever, and he fell and he had that whole dialogue, man, I felt bad for the actor because those lines were shit. It wasn't his fault. And that's another thing that kind of ticked me off is when somebody would say, well, that line that he said there, like, you know, they wouldn't say it was the way it presented, or it just didn't belong there. Like you're saying, what Padme say was just wrong. That was not just what she would say. But some of the words that are done cheesily, like Hayden Christensen didn't write that line.
No,
which is another thing that some people who attack me will be like, "Wow," and they'll be saying that. It's like, come on, leave the guy alone.
Yeah, but the way they're going with this series is where they should have went with the movies. There was so much stuff that they could have done with the newer movies.
Yeah,
you know, and I liked the twist at the rise of Skywalker. I liked the twist with her being one of, like, the Emperor's grandkid. But they could have gone so many different ways with.
Yeah, I see. I did an episode on this where I changed one thing, and it changed another thing. And it showed how if they would have just changed one small detail or added some more, it would have helped other things along the way. It was a chain. And yeah, it just seemed like that second movie, man, when they started with that decision to make Luke all sullen and miserable, it just chain reacted to more disaster. So if I would have did it, so I would have started with a different Luke. And that would have chain reacted so many more things, right?
Yeah, like he was hiding from he disconnected himself from the Force because he failed, and it's kind of like with the Jedi, because like when Ben turned bad, but yet in in the Book of Boba Fett, and so when Luke says to Grogu, "Get up, always get up,"
yeah,
why didn't he later on, 20 years down the line, get up and start over again?
Yeah. Oh, it's a big universe, my friend. It's a big universe. It's awesome. We could go on forever about this, but we better get off the air here. And I think Bonzi's coming up sometime soon. I think, as I look at my producer. But anyway, I'm so glad you made it. It was, as I say, you're always welcome here, man. You're always welcome. And Brent's off with the Imagine Dragons. I'm not a fan of them. I'm going to tell. I won't hack on them too much. But wow, I could see. I used to play in a band. I did some. I could tell you later. We should have a beer sometime, and I'll tell you about my music career. But yeah, I can be pretty Sith-ish when I talk about some bands. And Savage Dragon or Imagine Dragons, man, I could really go to town on them. But I won't. But Brent's out there with them. He's getting them their cheese tray. Cheese tray and taking care of them, whatever. So Jimmy, you're more than welcome. Come back anytime. I love talking to you. I will never make fun of you because you like Star Wars. Ever?
Well, you better not, because you have more toys sitting behind you than I do.
Dude, those were like as I mentioned, that was like I couldn't get a brother and sister, but man, I got some cool Star Wars toys. So they kept me busy, my friend. Right on. So Jimmy, where can everybody find you?
So I'm also on the Dean Blundell Network on Dean Blundell. It's the Jedi Jimmy Podcast. Yeah. And I'm on Twitter, which is at JPWhite957, and Facebook is James P. White. Beautiful. And I'm also on the radio every morning.
You're a busy guy. You are success, my friend. Virtual high five to you, Knuckles.
We need to do a beer in person someday.
Definitely. I thought you were in Toronto for so long, and then I found out you weren't. I was like, because I was thinking when Brent does a show, I was going to run into you maybe at because when he comes and runs shows, I usually go out and hang out with him in his office and stuff. And if it's a good band, I'll watch. If it's not, I'll just hang out with him. And I thought maybe I'd be seeing you down there, but I'd have to come out to BC. My daughter used to live out your way there, but she had to move back during COVID.
I'm in Alberta. I'm not in.
Oh, you're in Alberta. I'm sorry. So you're not near Brent.
No.
Okay, man, I'm bad with that. I'm just finding out where you actually live. How bad's that? So I'm in Kingston, right?
Oh, I'm actually planning on going to visit some friends in the summer in Picton.
You got to be kidding me! That's
I lived in Picton for about a year in early 2000s.
Oh, dude, I think we can make that beer happen. If you're coming to this area and you can put a night aside, I'll show you a good time here in Kingston. I'm on the music council, so if there's anything going on, I can take you to it. We can go check it out. Like, yeah, we got some great bars here, buddy. They're already I don't know what kind of music you're into, but we've got like the Beaches coming. We've got the Cancer Bats coming. Sloan's coming. Oh yeah, like dude, and I, as I say, like we can.
That's one thing I miss with this whole pandemic is live music. It doesn't matter what it is. I've done country, I've done folk, I'm more of a rock guy, but it's just anything live is nothing beats it.
That's great. That's awesome. Well, we even have a comedy club here, dude. So we got comic book store. So if you can put a night aside or a day aside when you're around, when that happens this summer, you're more than welcome. I got a room here for you. And you can crash.
Sounds like a plan, man.
My wife doesn't drink. She will chauffeur us around to where we need to go. So me and you could both go. Woohoo! All right, Jimmy. Thanks for coming in, my friend. Always a pleasure. You take care, my friend, and we'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you then.
Okay, see you, Jimmy.
Okay, bye.
Awesome. All right, my friend. So we got to wrap her up here. We have who's coming up next? Bonzi. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, at 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock?
9 o'clock.
Oh, he's got time then. I'm not cutting anybody off. Good. Well, we did an hour and a half though. That's I thought we'd round it up to an hour and a half.
That was good. It was great to have Jimmy on here, man. See, him and I could talk about this kind of stuff forever, and I'm sure we have a lot of fans out there that could as well. I had some people were on here. Somebody was asking me about the COVID vaccine. I'm not going to talk about it. That's personal. So, buy my comic book. I'll tell you what. You want my comic book, buddy? I'll tell you whether I've been vaccinated or not. How's that sound? You can find my comic book at etsy.ca. Machete Comics, one word, like Machete Comics as in one word. So if you want to know, what's his name? Cream Pie Lars. Hey, Cream Pie Lars. Dude, you want to know if I'm vaccinated? Buy my comic book and I'll tell you. Woo! All right. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. I'm Chris Machete. There's the cover of issue 3 that's coming out. I am the owner of Machete Comics. I'm a published comic book artist. I'm obviously a podcaster, and I teach a little bit still, winding it down, but buddy loves you. All right? Okay, friends. Party on, but more importantly, be excellent to each other. All right? And listen to what Jimmy said there about bullying, man. Be a hero, not a villain. All right. Cheers. Peace and love.